All right, welcome back again, everyone, where I'm AJ0, and I'm not streaming. We think Twitch might be undergoing some issues right now. I literally can't go live. So we're back to the best thing we can do. Thrifty tried knocking us from 60 to 30 FPS, and we're going to get the show on the road whether we have issues or not, because we're already running late enough here. So welcome to Baddie Breakdown. We are 2 weeks into the SBL. We've completed our first round robin. Every team has played 3 games. Every team has won a game. Every team has lost a game. And we're in a really exciting place. I think that there's a lot to break down. So as a reminder, for those of you that don't recall or have not been here before, we are going to do our standard Twitch Q&A at the end of the stream. So if you have any good ideas, pitch them in chat as we go. We'll try to catch them as we go here. Otherwise, we'll hit those up at the end. And I think we're ready to jump straight into stock up, stock down, guys. So as a reminder for anyone that doesn't remember or was not here in week 1 for the first Baddie breakdown of the season, our stock ups were Mr. Tuesday, Cax, and Phoenix Blaze. Our stock downs were Lazy Laz, Wang, and the bestest one. And we had Albino Joe and Salvo on the watch carefully next week list. So I think let's just start with those two, Albino Joe and Salvo. How you guys feeling about those two?
Salvo didn't show up this week at all.
Yeah, he decided.
But it worked out for his team, so stock's up.
True.
I was gonna say stock down because if you go missing and your team suddenly looks dominant.
No. This is the kick in the pants that team needed. Like I don't know. I saw enough games of Salvo Jungle to be like, he should have been riding the bench anyways. But I don't know. Maybe this team saw something different in practice.
Yeah, shout out to the commissioner. He posted the wrong game in match history. Go fix that, man. Come on.
What?
We need you to post versus high expectations.
What?
That is not versus high expectation. Whoop.
No, that's the same.
Sure
but
is.
anyways, so Albino Joe, anything we need to say there? Wang, do you want to throw your teammate under or over any buses?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's at least one death tonight that I that it was because of us. We told him the word Baron, and we said we didn't care if he died, and then he died. So I'll take 1 out of the 7 deaths.
Right.
But yeah, it was not a pretty night for our bot lane. On a lane we really needed them to win tonight.
I think a lot of it was just like him getting caught out, him getting knocked up. Like the amount of time he had, 3 deaths to the Caitlyn ult just coming out of nowhere and taking away like a third of his life. And it seemed like a lot of situations where he wasn't necessarily in the worst spot, but he was just the pin cushion for the team that was already, snowballing and in a lot of instances pretty catastrophically ahead already.
Yeah.
So on to this week's stock up and stock down. We'll start with stock up. Always got to start with our only positive note of the night. I'm going to nominate one of the easy ones here. I want to nominate Thunder Cunt. I'm going to say his name because he was absolutely in impregnate me territory tonight. Absolutely popping off on the Cho'Gath.
Yeah, looked really good on the Malphite as well. Like, dude just came out and played 2 fucking stellar top laning games. Like, one, just fucking really solid role player that, like, just the second it hit mid game was able to just set his bot lane was already rolling and just helped transition them real beautifully to an end game. And then the other game, he just fucking did it all, man. We saw him get ganked like 6 times and he didn't die once and killed people most of the time that like someone came up there.
So how did that feel from your position as the person that was on the receiving end of a lot of the chopping and a lot of the knockups? I mean, granted, a lot of that did end up going numbnuts way. Some of the most significant damage knockups issues that you guys had up there. But how puckered was your asshole for the first 12 minutes of that game?
Yeah, quite a bit. Actually, I really was not ready for the AP Cho. I was ready for Tank Cho. And that's why I had the Urgot pick ready for that. And AP Cho fucks us real hard. And then also with our jungler, that build path he went does not really help that situation at all either.
I mean, that's a standard Hecarim build path. But
no, it is a standard Hecarim build path. But I mean, like, we didn't have like the line that I was that he needed to have to tank a Chokyu, or anybody on our team to tank a Chokyu. I think I could get away with from some of them with Urgot ease, and then and that was about it.
Yeah, it pretty much looked like anytime anybody got hit by one of those, it was pretty much lights out after
Yep.
like 15, 16 minutes.
Yep.
All right. Give me some stock ups.
Bestest.
Stock up.
Dude went from like having like 2 non-impact games to like him and Master Splinter just did bestest Master Splinter things, and it looked like it's the glory days from SBL season 3, and these two are just fucking rolling people, and they fucking rolled.
Yeah. Splinter
Yeah.
or Bestest looked real good.
Same token, I want to stock up Splinter. Obviously, expectations were high, but that was a GOAT game. Like, that was you beat Michael Jordan once, and he's like, okay, I'm going to just beat you myself next week. I don't need teammates.
I wanted Master Splinter from last week. I want that match. That was I liked that a lot, but this was rough. That man was everywhere all the time.
And it wasn't just like he was the boss. He wasn't just driving it. He was it. I mean, he was 100% kill participation for quite a while through that game, set up kind of all of the plays, and really was the engine that got. I mean, it was one of those games where it was like, oh, the entire map's kind of going because of him.
Yeah.
He's stopping the bleeding in the top lane while getting things accelerated at every other position of the map, also while gaining his own lead.
I think a big thing about that game was also just like some stuff that wasn't numbers, like you said, where he was just stopping bleeding. Like, there was a lot of times where he just like stopped plays from happening because he showed up, right? Like someone showed up bot, or like, TF ult goes live and he's already covering the lane that was going to get TF ulted, so the TF ult just doesn't go there anymore. It's just like a lot of little things where he's just like, he was always in the right place at the right time, and it really showed.
I really want to stock up Xmas Tree.
That was the last man on my list.
That was the last one on my list too.
I thought Tree just had a phenomenal night. I don't want to suck his big hairy dick too much, but the amount of impactful plays that he had on the Thresh, he basically shut down, unfortunately, the bot lane of the team that I drafted. He was all over the place, constantly nailing hooks, constantly having great positioning. The amount of situations where he got himself out of something that maybe last week with the performance that he showed us then we wouldn't have expected, but a lot of the thresholds just saving his life, that clutch fucking stopwatch that we saw in the bottom of river, like, he looked absolutely on his A game. And then we were hoping, as we were talking about in the precast, we were really hoping that he was going to show us a similar performance on the Rakan, and I definitely think he delivered. Just constant interruptions, knock up, disruptions of the team. He stole 2 kills because he's a dumb bitch, but other than that, I think he had a great night and a great showing on 2 playmaking supports, really showing us that as of right now, I would definitely say he's the best performing support in the league.
Oh yeah, the man's been grinding a shitload of solo duo queue with respect, pretty much, but also just like whoever he could get his fucking hands on, and it shows. This is like legitimately, it was like the best night of like leagues. Tree's been playing like, not like the best league he's been playing in like the last few years. This is like legitimately some of the best league Tree's been playing, period, which you cannot say about maybe anyone else in the league.
He finally got rid of that toxic fucking Ohio air. That contaminant that spilled from the train. That shit was there already, and it was affecting his mental before he ever set foot in this state. He needed some time to acclimate last year, but now
he's on 22 ping now instead of like the 45 ping he was on in Columbus,
and
that's the difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every pro player knows that 45 is unplayable. So.
Yeah, fucking garbage ping.
I mean, 22 is though. Yeah, that's definitely significantly better than 8 or 9.
So
can we have a Baddie redemption? I feel like if a week that we stock down somebody hard, and then we should Baddie redemption. I'd like to call it Lazy Laz for the Baddie redemption. I'm like looking through the 3 match histories I have with Lazy Laz and being like, damn, you didn't do shit in 3 games that I played against you, and I felt like his stocks down last week was well justified, especially after that. And I mean,
he was good
partly
tonight.
Tree playing well, but he popped off this week.
That bot lane was looking really. They were firing on all cylinders, and it really fucking showed, like, both their games.
So spicy. And his Jinx play was really, really good too. Like his trap placement. The amount of times that he got shy out with just a couple of well placed fucking chompers or whatever the fuck they're called. The amount of times that the Jinx rocket came in and that was the last point of damage that sealed the deal. He just looked really, really comfortable and good on that, and then had a game handed to him on a silver goddamn platter on that Caitlyn. Like I said in the cast, 15k damage, but an 8-1 and 6, 8-1 and 7 scoreline. Like, my God.
Yeah, congratulations, ladies and lads. You've created a new category on the fly, Baddie Redemption. We'll see if anyone is worthy in future weeks. But now,
8-1 and 5, excuse me.
What the people are here for, stock down. Did we clarify? Is Salvo on the stock down list?
Salvo's on
No, I didn't play.
I mean,
I'm
column A,
making the
column
list.
B.
Yeah,
I'm making
oh,
the
yeah,
list.
you're making the list. That's true. You are in
Look,
charge of the
let's-
list, so you
know-
do get final say.
I can gaslight you guys so hard. Like week 6, I can be like, yeah, dude, Wang was on stock down 4 of the 6 weeks. And you guys would be like, oh, yeah, it must be, right?
Nah.
He has the list. But speaking of guys who put themselves there this week, we'll see. This may be controversial. I'm gonna put respect there. I can't tell if he doesn't respect his opponents or he doesn't respect his teammates, but one of those things is true to an extreme. Because some of the plays he does, they only make sense if you think you're playing against bronze players that you can just like Uzi flash on over and over, which, spoilers, you're not Uzi. You're one of the better players in this league. You're not Wes of the AD carry. Or you think your team is so bad that the only chance you have to win is to absolutely force these issues and try to accrue a lead way earlier than you need to be feeling any panic, thus throwing the game away before your team has a chance to even play it. And you can, like, the fact that, like, why are you all chatting all the time, man? Why is every time somebody makes a play on you, you got to all chat about it? Like, just play the goddamn game, dude. You're not just, like, tilting yourself. You're tilting your team when you can't shut the hell up.
I actually don't read chat at all.
The longest tower shot NA on that
Yeah.
first death. I mean,
he was saying he didn't think that he was even like that. Like he's like he was talking about that the whole rest of the game, that he couldn't believe that he couldn't
of course he was.
believe he hit that
That's
tower shot.
It
I
was
didn't
like
see it,
right,
obviously.
it was a long one, but it was like at like the edge.
The
You know?
very,
Yeah.
the very,
He just
very.
stepped up just like barely too far. He's like 20 units in range of tower. Good
Yeah,
shot.
it's sometimes tough on red side. I definitely agree.
His
that,
fucking skin of his dick.
Yeah, there's some really weird ranges there, or what feels like weird ranges.
I liked seeing
Mitch,
the
your camera's
aggression
off,
out of
by
him
the
early.
way.
I
Not
turned
anymore.
it back on.
Oh, okay.
It was off for a second.
Yeah.
Stream's like a full minute behind.
Okay, it's still showing off
Yeah.
on my screen actually. Oh, there it is.
Weird.
No,
I
it's
think
better now.
I think from somebody who's played it with Risquect, he sometimes gets in that mindset, and I think anybody who's played with him long enough knows that he sometimes gets there. But have good weeks and bad weeks, and this was
That's how it
if
goes.
you're gonna have a bad week, you might as well have it on a bad week where you're only playing one game.
True that.
True.
So, any other stock downers?
I
I don't know.
I don't know if this one's really a stock down.
I don't
Well,
want
that's
to know.
good. We
I don't
can have
know
it- we can have a
how
debate
mean
about
I
it.
want to be.
All right.
No,
I was gonna bring up Cax. He lost Zach in both of his games, and then didn't look like the same player.
It's the opposite of the redemption.
Oh, was he a
Fall from-
stocks up last
He
week?
was a
He
stock
was
up
a
last
stock-
week.
He
Yeah.
was. The
Can
Can we do
deduction?
Baddie reversal?
The
Baddie
the
reversal.
The
defacements.
fucking the Uno reverse card.
The Uno.
All right, Baddie Uno reverse. That's what we're calling it. I
There we
agree
go.
with Cax. He looked very. We'll get into this topic later. He just looked like a guy who doesn't know pre-med League of Legends. That was one of my key takeaways for him.
No, absolutely. And
I mean,
bit of a
I
spoiler to
think
the rest of
Cax.
your conversation.
I think Cax's strength was, especially in week 1. Like, I mean, God, I wish I would have banned. I wish I would have banned Zach in week 1, but I fucked up the bans halfway through. His strength is great. You guys ganking for Thrifty Senpai, and I felt like that in every game that I've seen him in the week 0 games and the week 1 games, that like just being able to get in there and gank with Zach and then get assists off of that and then get big on that and then be able to be the front line was really his strength. And then we didn't see that on the Maokai this week.
So, any other contenders you guys are feeling for stock down while we're here?
Yeah, I mean, it feels a little bit mean. But I want to say Chai. Um, I he and I was telling Tim this after the cast. He honestly looked a little bit lost on the Tarek. There were a number of instances where he was just kind of like out by himself. Like when he got killed at Krugs,
Oh God.
there was nobody else by him. There was nothing else going on. He just kind of got caught out. There were a number of times that happened. There were and Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there were zero impactful Tarek ults throughout the entirety of that game. And granted, they weren't really in a position where they could really leverage that and take good advantage of being grouped up as 5, having invuln on a bunch of people. But he kind of just walked into a bunch of situations. He dropped ult a few times to save a couple points of health on him and Tizzy, got a Q in, and then they both died.
Yeah, and Tim doesn't want to throw his teammate under the bus here, so I'm going to take the heat here.
Right now.
I think I agree with you. The only caveat would be like, is the stock really down if you were expecting
right?
to be
No,
one of the weaker
no.
players in the league? But I mean, this I would say yes. If you're a player in the SBL and you perform, it was just rough. It was. You know, we're going to get into this tonight where we talk about kind of welcome to pre-made, but he just. I've been saying all along, I'm like, can teams run through bot lane to win against Tizzy and the Smash Brothers? And the answer now is yes. So that means now that's a target on Chai and Tizzy's back every week, every game. You're going to see teams try to camp bot lane, pick for lane. And now it's like, this is a huge question on how will the response be here.
I also want to see like some quite a bit of vision score improvement. Like the vision that they had on bot side of the map was pretty lacking for both of their games. The vision score was way behind both of the other supports that he played against. And if you're not making like proactive, impactful plays on the support that you're playing, especially with more of a tanky front line, team saving ult on Tarek, then you need to step up your vision game. And honestly, again, they were in a lot of situations where they fell too far behind too quickly, where he didn't really have the opportunity to be that impactful. But at the same time, if you're not assisting in the team fights and you're not doing this and you're not effectively CCing, you're not effectively saving your team, and you're not effectively getting vision down to try and save whatever you can, then you need to figure out something to do as a support in that situation.
I think that's enough said there. So the one last player I wanted to suggest, and this is very much an open for debate, which is why I wanted to bring him up. I would personally nominate Chopman for a stock down after this week. And I'm curious how you all feel.
That was the other one that I was debating. I mean, he did look really strong on the Garen in the early game. Had the ability to do his classic Dario Chopman 1v many thing, go in, spin to win, do a bunch of stuff. But at the end of the day, the lead that he did surmount, the CS lead that he had, he didn't turn it into anything.
You want to know something? We were in TeamSpeak and we were talking about how if you would have built Stridebreaker instead of Triforce, he would have had 3 more kills. If he would have just done that on Garen, nothing else, just Stridebreaker over Triforce, which is, I mean, kind of the standard build. I thought that was a little bit of an awkward choice, but Chopman kind of does his own thing sometimes.
and oftentimes it works, and it didn't.
It's just, like it to me, it's really worrying that you had a situation where you were set up that well and you were completely lost about what to do with it, because you probably won't be set up that well very often. As great as he is, you needed to see better fighting out of him given the situation he was in.
I thought he was gonna go bot and split push a lot, and then because that's where I thought the only, because by the time Garen was really far ahead in that game, the rest of the map was garbage at that point. He had literally there was no chance and of doing really anything other than split pushing, which I think that he could have done. I mean, Dan didn't hit 100 CS until 27 minutes into
our
the
team
game.
was built to split push.
Right.
Yeah, and I didn't feel like that happened. I was almost expecting him to get Hullbreaker or something, but maybe that's not as of a thing anymore. But it was I don't know. It was just definitely a little bit awkward.
Yeah. I mean, like a lot of the caveats that I was saying for Chai too, it's a tough situation even if you are ahead on the Garen in that. And if you're not able to present that split push threat and you're just kind of roaming around and trying to help out the rest of the map that's bleeding out or just looks kind of anemic, then what are you doing?
Garen would have been a good fighter against, like, even if they sent Wukong. I mean, Garen dumpsters Wukong, and I mean, like, I think he probably could have even dumpstered Wukong and Shen at the same time, and then that didn't happen. But maybe that's more of a macro team play than just him himself. I don't know. I kind of agree. I've also looked at these guys' match histories too, and I feel like I have yet to see too many games where Chopman has popped off. I look at, like, I've looked at everything from, like, the flex queues and, like, the normals and whatever, and everything has seemed this season like the wins and losses are Thrifty Senpai with 50% of the team's damage, and then he's grouped up with everybody else, the other 40%. But
Shotman, you're officially on the SBL watch list for week 3, so we'll see. We'll see what's coming next. But
I believe in him.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
I
got
believe
faith
in
for
him
him
but
to turn it around.
I definitely have faith.
I
no,
definitely
Tim, you feel
faith.
bad. Your teammates are all bad. You're not that good. You're gonna get last. Get fucked.
I can tell you what I'm feeling in the
Please
moment.
don't talk to me about my fears.
So speaking of fears, Tim is gonna be rolling in his sleep tonight, thinking about me screaming, "Welcome to the SBL Chai," as Tarek randomly walks into Fog of War without any consideration of the 5-man DP that's ongoing. And this is one of the topics we want to talk about, is the welcome to the SBL modes, because we do have quite a few new players in the SBL, some new players that are starting for the first time. And, this has been a common theme over many years, but we only really get to, like, make short comments about it on casts, and we rarely, like, really go into depth and elaborate on it here. So I just want to talk about, welcome to the SBL, welcome to pre-made, and some of the differences between solo queue and actual competitive League of Legends, and, like, the adjusting period that some players have a really hard time going through. So, Commissioner Tim, tell me, you one of the most experienced pre-made League of Legends players alive. How do you feel about this?
Dude, there is always some real growing pains in every role for when you come into the SBL, but there's definitely some that, like, hit way harder than others, and, like, support and jungle are the two that hit the most, because they change the most. Like, you don't have so much of those roles are about, like, competing with what the other people are doing, and when you're trying to, like, change how everyone's playing, all of a sudden it's like, well, Vision's gonna be set up differently, which now affects how the support's gonna have to ward, how they're gonna have to sweep, how people are moving, and the same thing for the jungle. And there's a lot more, like, cohesive. People are gonna make a lot more cohesive plays, and, like, you don't just see, like, your jungler where you can just do one strat every single game, and you can just go and power farm the jungle every game, and, like, it's solo queue, because no one's gonna react to what you do. People are gonna come into pre-made fives and be like, well, this person always does this, so let's ban it. Or, because you're a one trick. Or, hey, they always play power farmers, so let's play forward, and let's just play, like, really, really aggressive early game, and just not let them have a chance to use their power farm.
Yeah, the one thing I always, like, really focus on is it's about risk, right? And in solo queue, you can take a lot of risks. Actually, you need to take a lot of risks in solo queue, because everyone's a monkey fighting all the time. And if you try to only take smart fights, you just don't fight enough. But in pre-made, it's so different, because if you're walking into River trying to solo set up Vision with 5 people MIA, and you get picked in solo queue, like, maybe they're going to crash one of your waves into a tier 1 tower, and that's it. But when you make mistakes like that in pre-made, they're going to take so much more of what you're giving them. They're much more likely to be, going to a Dragon, a Baron, a Rift Herald. They're much more likely to hard focus on taking a tower, or at the very least going and getting team vision, like lighting up an entire quadrant of the map. And every death is just so much more costly in competitive. So you really have to minimize those mistakes, because a handful of those mistakes, you can lose a game outright. Whereas in solo queue, when you're doing 50 plus kills every game, it doesn't matter nearly as much. And that's the thing that's why I criticize people so hard on the casts about when I think they take bad risks, because they're so costly.
I think we saw that quite a bit with Numbnuts, coming in, not having played week 1, and then it kind of looked like on the Hecarim that he was on a little bit of a one-track mind, like the repeated ganks top against the Cho'Gath when they continuously didn't work, continuing to hang out top lane. Like, maybe in the specific script that he was following, it was right for him to be doing Krugs at that point, and then eventually rotating back to red, rotating back to the rest of his side of the map. But you have to, have some recognition that the Thundercunt is coming after you. And I think eventually he kind of caught on to that. But just watching the early game of that game, it kind of seemed like he was just sort of stuck in the track of, all right, I'm going to go top, I'm going to gank, we're going to get his flash. I mean, he got his flash early, and that looked good. But then again, dove, got knocked up, took too much damage, dove again, and it just wasn't impactful. And it kind of looked like that was what he was focused on. He wasn't able to, transition and say, okay, what else can I be doing?
I have a question actually on that one, which is a really nice one. Wang, so when you guys got the pick on Thundercunt in the top lane, you guys collect the 1,000 gold shutdown. Oh no! I just triggered some PTSD. You got Dragon Soul for the Dragon Soul up in
15 seconds.
15 to 20 seconds.
Till the teleport Cho'Gath spawns.
Yeah.
The jungler. Yeah. So I there was a major communication breakdown because obviously you saw what the other 4 of us did.
Yeah, it looked like a classic that two people made 2 different calls and then no one solidified.
Yeah. So what happened was we said we need to get a pick to go to Dragon, and I don't know if Numbnuts mixed it up in his mind and thought we needed another pick or something. That's what he had said. But we were ready to take the 4v5 at Dragon because we just had the big shutdown. We're there. They're on Soul, and so that was the call. And that I mean, like in my mind, that's the only play. Like there is no other play on the map. There is only take the dragons or prevent the dragon.
Soul, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And and so that was definitely a big welcome pre-made because I don't know. There's no other play. There's literally no other play.
It's a really classic one.
Even if we
it's
all
really easy to
die.
make. Yeah. It's really easy though for someone just like one person to make one mistake on something versus like because it's like you just missed a call or like there's a miscommunication.
Yep.
And in solo queue that would have been a problem. That would have been fun.
Yeah.
I could feel the pain in Tim's voice on the cast as that was happening. It was like, oh my god, this horse is so far away and he hasn't realized that.
And I called it out on the cast. I was like, I guarantee you what happened here is that there was 2 separate calls made.
There wasn't. There was only one.
Or just like,
there was only one call said in chat.
Or like there was like someone misheard and there was just some misunderstanding. Because I'm like, I guarantee you, there's just some misunderstanding somewhere here.
Yep.
That's rough. It's so rough.
And a few more games of pre-made or whatever, and like you get that drilled into your head. But but that is definitely a hard one. But I mean, like we were behind at that point anyways.
Oh,
did it make the difference? I couldn't be like, no, probably not. But
like probably not.
But that's the play. That's the play you always go for.
Oh yeah, he's definitely closely on my watch list next week. Really, outside of that, there was that one dive mid where like he had an awesome ult on the flank and he got 2 kills on the tower.
That was sick.
That was sick.
But outside of that, like the number of times is like, oh my god, what in the world does he think is going to happen here? Like just so many times, like micro decisions on some of the skirmishes typically, because you guys didn't. I mean, it really wasn't like a 5v5 team fight game. So much of it was bad skirmishing, but there was just a lot of like, oh, I don't know how he possibly thought that could be successful. And not enough to like stock down him, like because I've heard good things about some of the practice games. I definitely think it's not going to look so bad.
There was glimpses. There's definitely glimmers of hope there. Like there was definitely like.
I mean, like I've never lied on like this before. Like I think I said it last week that like somebody asked who the best bench was. Like it's definitely sub jungler. He's actually really good.
Yeah.
But there's just not a whole lot.
Yeah.
Just our team configuration that doesn't work out for him a lot of the time. But this week it did.
Yeah, this is a good segue into the next topic, which was just the kind of the roster changes this week. Obviously, Numbnuts coming in as you guys were moving Bonkrank to the bench, which puts Wang in the top lane. We had Salvo on the bench, Tankax coming in the jungle.
That was it.
Dude, yeah, that was it, but those were big. I mean, Flex Panther turned around at 2-0 this week and like looked really good in both their games.
No, Tankax, that team compared to how they looked week 1 looked like 2 completely different teams. They looked cohesive across the map. They were dominant in both of their games. It wasn't close to the performance that they showed us week 1, where the Amuma just kind of wandered around a little bit. The bot lane wasn't firing on all cylinders, and they just weren't really doing a whole lot. They just looked a little bit lost in their week 1, and this week it completely different team. You could have covered the nameplates and told me that wasn't any of the same players, and I would have believed you.
So based off of assuming that like their roster swap doesn't just make these guys a bunch of beasts all of a sudden, do you think we kind of end up into like a bit of like a rock paper scissors meta with teams? Based off of what we've seen with scrims.
No, I don't.
You don't think so? You think there's gonna be someone who settles up on top?
Yeah. Eventually the shit rises to the bottom.
Nice turn of phrase.
There have been too many back and forths with all of these teams, in my opinion. Yeah. Like, I mean, like, we beat this team like a couple of times in week 0. Yeah. I mean, like, obviously we beat Master Splinter's team for our 1 win. I think there's gonna be some back and forth, like quite a bit of it. On this triple round robin,
there will be, but I don't think it's going to quite be like rock paper scissors. I think teams are going to be trading games with each other. I think
so. That's what I'm saying. I think we're going to have a really scrappy season in terms of records,
which is awesome because this, the games, as we've covered, like you have to make top 3 to make the playoffs. If you get first, you will skip to the finals, skip a whole best of 5 in what could be a hotly contested season. We'll hopefully see these games mattering all the way down to the wire.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you think, actually, as the presiding member of ZSA on this discussion right now, do you see you guys running that comp back next week? Do you see you trying to switch it up a little bit more, maybe messing around with something with you mid, or is this configuration the one that you guys are feeling the most confident in at this time?
Is it the one that I think that we can win on a lot of teams, on a lot of comps, but Boncrank had to take some definitely well-needed mental break from the game, and he kind of told us last night. And so I jammed as many top lane games as I could today. And I if you look back at my match roster, I probably have 10 top lane games today.
Yeah, dude, I saw. I was like, "Holy shit! Why he's going hard
out of nowhere?"
Yeah. So I did play top lane for a version Team Swain that we did before the
Tim was mentioning that on the cast. It was after the comeback SBL.
Okay, yeah. So I just haven't played a lot of top lane recently. I got some champs, and I have some champs with a lot of rust.
Wang, the reason that you're a mediocre team captain, unlike an excellent legend of a team captain like myself, is Von Crank told you, like, hey man, I need a little bit of a mental health break from the game, and you gave it to him instead of giving in to that man's hardcore humiliation kink, berating him publicly, preferably to power him up with a cock full of confidence to take on.
I think
the difference though is that if you have that, you're gonna be EG. You're gonna get EG'd. You're gonna get fucking called out on Reddit in 3 weeks.
Yeah,
you're gonna be like, Swift bad.
I think it's a good break for him, and maybe it's only like a week or 2, but we'll see what happens.
He has to feel good watching you just absolutely run your fist up your own asshole.
I got fucked. I was really expecting an Tank Cho and not AP Cho, and then when I saw that first Q hit, I was like,
that reminds me of one of the themes of the night.
Finished Kodaks.
Because Thunder, I think, didn't realize that Dario didn't start with items in that game.
Yeah, he sure did.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, one of my themes of the night is actually you could press tab and see the items the enemy characters have, so like you could see it's AP Cho.
No, I mean, like I going into that game, because that's why you pick Urgot, is to like counter a tank, and then because I thought I was going against Tank Cho and then Trundle, and so I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm gonna pick like this % damage character that does good in this matchup. I've played this matchup before, and then I saw that for Q.
You built the cleaver, you shred the tanks, you have a good time.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And then that was not the case. I mean, like he did build tank, but
after Everfrost Demonic.
Yeah, exactly. So like it wasn't good. At that point. And then we also like Phoenix fucked up a little bit too. He should have built Leandre's in that game instead of Luden's, Luden's build, and like there were a few things on our team that I think could have been. And
dude,
yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Dan
We'll
coming
come
with the
back to
top
the
is
next.
hard. Yeah, dude, top is hard. That
Oh
lane is
yeah, no.
punishing.
Yeah, no. I mean, like you look good when you look good, and I mean, it's
Yeah.
tough when you don't. But no, we'll try it out, and I think we're still gonna pick some games at the comp. So just haven't played it at all before tonight.
No, I mean that's reasonable. I do love that you're coming out as the most flexible player in the league as of right now, having already. Well, no, you've only played what? You've played jungle and top. Have you played mid? You haven't played mid in
He
an
played it in
actual casted
preseason.
game.
I
though.
played it in
preseason,
in
right?
preseason he
I also
played
played
mid.
top in a preseason
Yeah.
too. Actually, I
This
lied.
man
We did this
technically has
configuration
more
when I was-
games of not jungle than jungle
True.
on
But
this season.
If
Yeah.
we see the Wang and Joe IRL lovers lane at any point, that's when
Oh my
like
God,
I'm
no.
panicking.
Oh,
has to be-
actually, we did it last week. During some flex games. It was Tristana Yumi, and
Oh
it
yeah,
worked
we
out
did do
great.
that.
Yeah.
We did do that.
But John,
Well,
but John
I think, yeah, I got huge that game.
Speaking of Wang being in the ADC position, that's a great segue into our last plans topic of the night, which is that being carried is a skill. And if anything was going right with you in ADC, I know you were being carried. This is maybe one of the most important things for the highest percentage of SBL players. Like if you're one of the bus drivers, if you're thrifty, if you're Chopman, if you're Splinter, and like you're gonna win and lose through you, like yeah, you have to try to carry every game. But if you're the third, the fourth, the fifth player on the team, there are so few situations where you're going to single-handedly win a game. But it's really fucking easy to single-handedly lose one. And this is a thing we've seen time and time again over the years is you can be a player who like three-quarters of the time, like you play well, you go even or slightly behind, don't make massive mistakes. But then you just have that game once or twice, in the regular season where it's like, oh, you're 0-5 at 17 minutes. You have no hope of a comeback, and you're just sitting here. Your only game plan at this point is praying that the enemy team throws like hell.
Yeah. I mean, I think
sometimes it happens.
I think we saw a really good example out of that, even though, I said this repeatedly on the cast, and I definitely don't want to downplay what he did during the game, but I think during the last game we saw a really good example of that, and I definitely wouldn't put him at that, that level on his team, but out of Blab, out of Renai Circulation on the Orianna, not taking the carry role, not getting a ton of kills, not being the one that is going to win the game, but constantly being there for his team, constantly being able to disrupt the enemy team, and just doing what he needed to do to make sure that they were able to win. And again, I don't think he's not a bad player by any means, and I would argue he's, I mean, that whole team is, as we saw tonight, looking really good. But just being able to take, at the time, a 1-0-1 Orianna, not feed, not walk into bullshit, not fuck up, and just be able to deliver impactful play after impactful play from the back line, not being the carry, and let the other people who are already ahead take the game into their hands and walk with it.
Blab good.
Blab good.
Blab good. Shocking everyone.
Yeah. Do we have anything else you guys want to say? Or we want to see if we got some questions from Twitch chat here?
Let's take a peek at what Twitch
you got any questions for us? Let's hear them. We have 1 FPS, but apparently, again, I think Twitch is just freaking out.
Oh, it looks like it's sped up a little bit.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it seems like it's fixed on live.
Sick.
I know we are quite a bit behind chat, if I remember right, so we might need a second to see if any questions pop up in here. Which player should I rant about indefinitely?
Is there anybody that we haven't ranted about?
You can talk about how shit I am for not even playing the game because I'm so bad.
Yeah, you got some ups in Twitch chat. I don't know
people like you.
I see that.
Congrats.
I mean, in my defense, the mic is doing a lot of the heavy lifting.
Ooh.
It's not.
Oh yeah, no. I remember
not
when,
a cheap setup.
When I used that mic for a day, I hopped on and Tizzy's like, "Are you in my ear?"
Yeah, it sounds so nice. His audio quality is so good. I'm so jealous.
I mean, That's what happens when you spend, like $500 on a mic setup and you're not even streaming. I mean, I was, competitively playing WoW at the time, and I wanted to sound good, but it's
No, we
way
understand. You
overkill.
can't handle the pressure that comes with playing a player versus player game. That's why you play
No.
easy PvE games, and
Absolutely.
that's fair. Some people know that they're too much of a bitch to play
Yeah.
a man's game like League of Legends.
Yeah, easy PvE games that you're somehow still trash at.
So I don't know if we're getting anything worthwhile.
We got one good question for sure.
Yeah.
Will this week spend
from
100% ASOL ban rate, or will the nerfs be enough?
It's so tough to tell because now all 4 mid laners have games on Aurelion. Like a pretty substantial amount of the season's games on Aurelion Soul. So I mean, if they like them, probably gonna keep Aurelion Soul around in their pool.
Yeah.
And I mean, like we got double Vel'Koz in the league, like on 2 of the mid laners. Vel'Koz is not played by anybody. You never see it in solo at all. So I mean, just having a champion in your pool, no matter how good they are at this point, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Where the nerfs come in, unless he's dog shit. Like unless they put him in like the rise tier of mid laners.
Yeah, if they really dumpster him, then yeah, he's gonna be gone. But otherwise, like I don't think he'll be 100%. I think some teams will still flirt with it going through.
100%.
But I think it'll still be a high presence champion pick or ban.
Yeah, I expect high presence, but I would be the SBL is so much about pocket picks, and I just
it's really rough to just go ahead. Like the odds of just being like, yeah, everyone on red side has to ban this champion now. Like it just seems. It's a lot to ask.
I just hope some of his counter picks start winning. Like the counter picks that you would expect to be his counter picks. Like it can't just be Fizzing, pulling a positive win rate, which is barely positive.
Yeah, it's kind of insane that this champion that's supposed to be like this hyper scaling late game threat and like weak early laning phase just scales so like he hits that point of like
level 9.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah, level 9 he's insane already, and like he's so safe through like most of his laning phase against so many champions.
Yeah. This should like basically be Kale of the mid lane.
Yeah. But he's way safer than Kale, and way more impactful way earlier too.
He looked basically untouchable on being piloted by the bestest one there.
Oh yeah,
like,
bestest looked very good. I mean,
it looked like there was nothing that could be done to him. Like he was chased down, he was CC'd, he had the whole kitchen sink thrown at him in a lot of instances, and he just kind of slithered his way out of those situations.
He played very well. Good player, good champ, good time.
Good combo.
Yep.
Well, boys, I think that's going to wrap it up for tonight. We've had a fairly long show, especially given some of the delays beforehand. Any closing thoughts from anybody before we wrap this bitch up?
Appreciate you guys giving me a shot on the mic. It was fun tonight.
Hey, glad to have you around.
Had a good time.
Like to say that you sounded good, but
it's the mic.
I didn't listen to you.
Oh.
I was in the game.
Wanger Swift, say something to cut us off.
See you next week in top lane, bros.